Hello, and welcome to Inventors Helping Inventors. I'm your host, Alan Beckley, inventor of the Wonder Wallet. If you're an inventor searching for proven ways to make money with your invention, if you dream to see your product selling in stores everywhere, you've come to the right place. There's no better place to get help than from experts, inventors who've already achieved success. Every week, I interview successful inventors, asking them the questions you want to know. Tune in to learn from the experts so you can get your invention out of the tank and into the bank.
A lot of these behaviors are rooted in shame. For so long, I pulled out my hair, and that's how we got started. And I was afraid and thought I was weird. And
I wanted to give you a chance to join our new 3-class workshop, 3 Proven Steps to Your Invention Success, where you'll learn exactly that. Proven steps most inventors don't know. But you've got to act fast if you want to join us. The first class is this Wednesday, September 18th. Here's what you will learn when you join the workshop. Number 1, product search. How to do a thorough product search for any idea. Number 2, prototyping. How to create prototypes for your product without breaking the bank. And number 3, licensees. How to create your own curated list of companies perfect for your product. I've worked and honed this training during 5 years of coaching inventors. Your investment is just $97 for the entire workshop. Just go to alanbeckley.com/proven steps to join us now. Oh, there is an incentive bonus. 1 hour of coaching one-on-one with me for free. That's a $150 value you get just for joining the workshop. Again, don't wait. First class starts on Wednesday, September 18th. Join us now so you don't miss out. www.alanbeckley.com/proven steps. And I'll see you on Wednesday night. Welcome to episode number 442. Today, I interview Aneela Idnani. Aneela Idnani is co-founder and president of HabitAware. HabitAware created its Keen Smart bracelet to help people, quote, retrain the brain from unwanted behaviors like hair pulling disorder, trichotillomania, compulsive skin picking, dermatillomania, and nail biting to healthier behaviors. Having grown up hiding her hair pulling disorder in shame, Aneela is now an outspoken mental health advocate, raising awareness of these very common yet unknown conditions. HabitAware is partly funded by a research grant from the NIH, the National Institute of Health, and was named a Time Magazine 2018 Best Invention. HabitAware now has a new improved bracelet, the Keen 2. Keen 2 incorporates 7 years of gesture training data, so users can just push a button to instantly program in the particular habit they need help with. Coming soon is a bracelet specially designed for blind clients to deal with compulsive habits. You'll want to listen to this entire interview where you'll learn how Aneela is about to introduce a new product, Optic Aware, to help blind people with eye pressing. Also, what Aneela means by her motto, serendipity as a strategy, how it has served her and how it can serve you in your business also. And finally, how Aneela has learned to turn pain into purpose with her business. Now let's get right to our interview with Aneela Idnani. Aneela Idnani, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast with us today.
I am so excited to be back, and huge congratulations to you. I think it's been 5 years, and just you've done amazing stuff, and I'm excited to be back to share the work and the change that we've made too.
Aneela, you're the inventor of the Keen bracelet. For our newer listeners, I originally interviewed you, as we just discussed, over 5 years ago in May 2019. This was episode number 21. In that particular episode, you shared with us that millions of people suffer from repetitive bad habits, such as trichotillomania, a hair pulling disorder. Such habits are clinically referred to as body focused repetitive behaviors, or BFRBs for short. For those who missed the first episode, you may wish to pause this episode, go back and listen to number 21 first, and then to get all of the details. So, again, Aneela, I cannot believe it's been over 5 years since we talked. But as I recall, back in 2019, you were just getting started with your Keen bracelet. Sufferers from BFRBs, including chronic nail biting, could train their Keen bracelets by going through the motions of the habit. I understand your new Keen 2 bracelet has many enhancements. Can you briefly share with our listeners how you've enhanced the bracelet?
Absolutely. So, first, for those who may not go back to episode 21, I just want to give a quick high level of body focused repetitive behaviors. These are mental health conditions. They are automatic self soothing behaviors. And so, hair pulling, we mentioned, nail biting, we mentioned, skin picking is another one. It's essentially when the brain uses the body in a way to self soothe. And so the Keen bracelet that we invented back in 2017-ish, problem that it was solving was this lack of awareness, this subconscious automatic behavior happening. For many in the community, it's you don't realize it's happening until it's too late, until an entire bald patch is created, or until you've, ripped an entire nail off, or started bleeding around your nails, or, picked at a pimple to the point where it's now even bigger than what it was before. And so awareness is that first step in the medical psychological treatment that's for these behaviors. And so the device actually brings awareness to these behaviors using gesture detection. So that first bracelet, as you mentioned, which was our Keen bracelet, the user trained recorded their wrist motion onto the bracelet. And then that calculation was always being watched out for. And then when the bracelet said, okay, that's close to the calculation that we trained, it vibrates and brings the person into awareness. And then that opens the door to taking control. So after being in market for a few years, the customers started coming to us saying, this is amazing. It's helping us reduce these behaviors. Can it have a watch screen? Can it tell the time? Can it track steps? And so the Keen 2 bracelet answers some of the customer feedback that we received, the requests, but then also we would get notes about it's not working because of this, it's not working because of that. And so it improves upon it in that way. And it was really built out of our NIH research grant, NIH standing for National Institute of Health from the mental health department. So Keen 2 was built out of that. And that's a lot of the enhancements that Keen 2 brought to the table when we launched it during COVID, post COVID.
Thanks so much for sharing that. And it does, I'm glad you went through and described the BFRBs and that it's actually clearly a lack of awareness that it's happening that causes the problem. And I took down the note that these habits are self soothing in so many ways. And as I reflected back upon it, I used to be a really bad nail biter, and haven't been for over 10 years now. I don't bite my nails anymore. I just quit doing it. But I used to do it when I'd drive, when I'd start biting my nails and I'd get somewhere and there's nothing left of my nails. So I suspect that's a common scenario. But anyways, but you've made lots and lots of improvements, lots of feedback from your users, and that's fantastic. Also, you described to me that you've accumulated over 7 years of gesture data that you can now program into your Keen 2. Can you describe how you acquired the gesture data and then how you've implemented it into the Keen 2 bracelets? And obviously, then, does that make it easier to use the Keen 2 bracelet?
Yeah. So being in market for about 7 years between the Keen bracelet and the Keen 2 bracelet, all of those recordings, all of those gesture recordings that I mentioned earlier, we have stored. And we can see the gyroscope and all the different sensors, the values of those. So That's the data that we have collected over time. And that's the data that we've now used to be able to say, okay, someone has marked this gesture recording as eyebrow eyelash pulling. And so we can take all of those that were categorized as that and look at them in MATLAB and in these different computer programs to come up with a rule for what eyebrow eyelash pulling could be. And so by taking all that data, using machine learning, and I'll be honest, I'm not the techie on the team, so I may misspeak a little bit in how it's been built out. I am more of marketing communications and community, but essentially that, like we've taken all that data, we've put it into machine learning and identifying one algorithm for eyebrows, eyelashes, or for nail biting, for example, or for head top or head back or cheek skin picking, that kind of thing. So that now what we are about to implement in the Keen 2 bracelet and what we have already implemented and launched on the Apple Watch is now you don't have to train it. You just have to push a button and say, I need my device, I need my Keen Light, which is the Apple Watch app, or my Keen to tell me when my hands are engaging in eyebrow eyelash pulling. And you just have to push a button. And so that is what makes it easier to use for the consumer, for our Keen family, as we like to call them, because now they don't have to go through, while it was just a 30-second training process, they don't have to go through that and they can get a little bit faster along in the process of learning to build awareness and then take control of these behaviors.
That makes a lot of sense. And as you were describing 7 years of data that you've accumulated from all these users, I was reflecting back upon, in a different sense, a common concern that people have about privacy of data. They always wonder, I have all these queries that are going into the AI. Where is that being stored and what's going on with that? What is Alexa doing with all my queries? And often people feel like, in so many words, they're giving up some of their privacy in exchange for some convenience. And here you have a fantastic answer. You've stored all this data, but you've now used that data to make it where the device is even easier to use so that they don't have to program it themselves. That's a positive usage of something that is, in many other circumstances, viewed as a net negative.
Yeah, I appreciate that sentiment. It's not never our intention to affect it with any, affect with anyone's privacy, but all this data is and that kind of thing and stored in whatever cloud system we're using these days, that kind of thing. So yeah, we definitely take privacy into consideration and absolutely especially with these conditions and these folks in our Keen family, a lot of these behaviors are rooted in shame. For so long, I pulled out my hair, and that's how we got started. And I was afraid and thought I was weird. And because of that, we are very careful about that kind of thing because it's not our position to out someone, right? It's very much maybe held closely to those people, to our community. And so it's really for them to release the hold that these behaviors have on them. It is paramount to start seeking support and get it out of the head, the body, the mind, the heart. But it's for them to decide when they're ready to do that.
And clearly, the exciting thing is this product, this device gives them a way to address that issue on their own because, once again, there's a lot of shame connected to it. And a lot of people would feel uncomfortable sharing that with somebody, maybe even a counselor. And so, this is a way that they can address it themselves, almost like cognitive behavior therapy, where they can learn to address and solve that for themselves. Would you agree with that?
Yes, we always advocate for doing the work with a treatment professional. Our goal is to help you build awareness of these physical movements. A treatment professional's expertise lies in helping you build awareness of your thoughts, your emotions, all the things that may be going into why the pulling is happening or the nail biting or the skin picking. And so we see it as a tool that, yes, you can use it on your own, but if you are meeting with a treatment professional that understands these conditions, it just powers you up. And we actually offer peer coaching based on our lived experience and in helping probably the most people with these conditions ever. in our understanding of what's happening. So we also offer that as well.
And I want to mention today you have resources to help the blind who suffer from compulsive eye pressing. How did you become aware of this disorder? And was it difficult to add it as an option to your Keen 2 bracelet?
Yeah, so this came to us again from our community. We had actually like a handful of people use the device for eye pressing. So they themselves just said, I'm going to use it for eye pressing. I'm going to just train it for that on my own. And then they reached out to us and they told us about, hey, there's this community here that I'm part of. I'm blind. I have this behavior. And someone in that community actually introduced us to American Printing House for the Blind, which is a nonprofit, and we got connected with them. We did a survey with them of their customers, of their community to see, is this an issue that the community has? Is this an issue that the community wants to solve? And is this solution of a wearable device that brings awareness, a solution that the community would be interested in? And so through that partnership, we are developing a separate product called Optic Aware. So it's not built into the Keen 2 bracelet. It is a separate product for specifically for the blind community and specifically with American Printing House for the Blind to help get to that community as well and help support the community in that way. So we are very excited for that partnership, and that just shows how the power of awareness transcends the body focused repetitive behavior issues. It's really anything in life, your mind, your thoughts, different behaviors that you don't realize are happening. Even smoking, people say is right. It's a habit. You think you know that you're going outside to get a smoke, but I remember watching my manager back when I was in advertising, and I don't think she really knew that she was getting up to go for a smoke. It just becomes this ritual and ingrained and automatic. But when you have the awareness, then you can make change. And so we're excited about this project and this relationship with American Printing House. And we hope to get it to market in the next couple of months, actually.
That's fantastic. And again, just yet another source for help for the community. And I was reflecting upon your comments about people who are smokers. My mom at one time smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day, and she ultimately did quit cold turkey, but it was not easy. The thought process that she had as she was going through after she quit, one of the more difficult things for her was very much habit related. And that is after a nice meal, she liked to have a smoke. And the two were so interconnected that when she had a nice meal and she couldn't have cigarettes, it felt like the process was not fully enjoyable. So that probably was a psychological connection like you're describing.
Yeah, that was the routine that after that's exactly it. And then when you can break that cycle and maybe find a new enjoyable activity, like doing a puzzle with your family or whatever it is, that you can break the need for this other self soothing mechanism.
Well, Anila, I understand you're publishing a new book. Also, you've established a nonprofit group. What is the book about? What is the title? And when does it come out? Also, I know you're very busy with all your other endeavors. How did you manage your schedule to be able to create your nonprofit as well as to write your book? And I just want to say this will be very helpful for our listeners with busy lives wondering how the heck they're going to find time for their inventions. Can you share your thoughts about that?
Absolutely. This question, though, is packed with so many questions. I'm going to take them one at a time and so many different, well, ways I can take it. I am publishing a book. I'm publishing my memoir right now with New Harbinger Publications, which is a mental health publication company. They are rooted and focused in more treatment based, factual publications, but they do have a memoir wing, if you will. And the way that this came about, I believe in what I've coined as serendipity as a strategy, which essentially means the more you put yourself out there, the more you do good for others, the more the good comes back to you. And what happened was a colleague of mine went to a mental health conference, sat down for lunch, and this other person sat down next to her. they got to talking, and this other person just happened to be an acquisitions editor at New Harbinger Publishing. And at that point, I was trying to work on my memoir since 2018 with in Fits and Spurts, and my intention was to just self-publish. But my colleague Ellen met with this acquisitions editor, Wendy. They got to talking, and then Ellen put me in touch with Wendy, and I went through the whole book proposal process, answering all their questions, giving them sample chapters, and they said yes. So now I am in process of writing with them, which is completely new to me. I've done 11 chapters and I still have probably 5 or 6 to go. So the book is estimated to come out next year, probably fall. So hopefully around this time. And I'm still in process. So the book title is still TBD. We are talking through that and working with their marketing department and getting feedback from some of my friends that are reading the first cut of their edits and that kind of thing. So it's still in process and I'm super excited for it. In addition, I have started a nonprofit in 2023. So it is now about a year and a half old. And the goal of that really was a for profit company can only do so much for the community. A nonprofit has opens up the doors to some other possibilities in terms of how we want to serve the body focused repetitive behavior community. And we saw a massive gap in the nonprofit space here, especially as some other nonprofits in the space were on pause for a little bit. And so I just have really good people around me. One of my mentors just pushed me to just say, you don't need to wait for the lawyers. Just go to the IRS website, just read through the documents. They make it wordy for a reason, but you can do it. And I think I put in all the paperwork within 2 or 3 days. I got the website up in one night. You ask, how do you make all this stuff happen? Honestly, I was lucky because at that time, we had a new puppy, and that puppy had to go out to go potty every couple of hours, and so I would wake up at 3 in the morning and take him out, and then I would work for a little bit and just get it done. I'm back to a normal sleep cycle now, but it's really about having good people around you, identifying what you want to accomplish, sharing that with others, and allowing people to raise their hand and then delegating where you can. And I think it also just lies in the passion that I have for this community. I don't want to see people hurting. And it was this dream of starting a nonprofit has always been in tandem with starting Habit Aware, but it was a post from someone in a Facebook group that said something about how they were hurt in a way from someone else in the community, and that was the straw that broke this camel's back. And that night I started getting the website ready and started getting everything going, and it's just that idea of turning pain into purpose. And when you are turning pain into purpose, the energy just comes. And so that's as it relates to for the listeners with busy lives and how do you find time to do the thing that's in your heart? It's really about remembering who it's for. And that's where then you start looking at your time and making more of it in a sense of you again awareness. You recognize, oh, I'm scrolling Instagram when I could be working on that thing for that community that I promised that I would support. And so that's my biggest advice is to just keep remembering who you are for and the rest will follow.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. I want to repeat back two different phrases that you gave that I think are really valuable for our listeners in particular. And that first one, serendipity is a strategy. I really love that. It actually is very much aligned with Esther Hicks and ask and it is given, the principle of attraction. You tend to draw towards you the things you focus on most, whether those are good or bad, but it's a good thing. And then pain into purpose. I love that. And I think it's also connected to the serendipity as a strategy that pain into purpose is a driver. It gives you a psychological, passionate, emotional reason for doing something and continuing to do something and seeing the value in it.
100%. I love how you bring up Esther and Abraham Hicks and this whole belief of what you focus on, you find, and the universe is listening and that kind of thing. 100%. That's what serendipity as a strategy is. It's just another way of saying it and another way of tying it to the business world, if you will. But what you also said around ask and it shall be given, quite honestly, the last few years have been hard to build this business post-COVID. Post-COVID was hard because of all the things happening, right? School shut down. We have 2 young kids. We had to balance that. Manufacturing slowed. We have to balance figuring out supply chain and all of that. That was a stress. There was all these different stressors. And really coming out of it, I feel like this year, and I kept going back to we were so active in 2018, 2019, we meaning the Habit Aware team, going on podcasts, getting speaking engagements, really sharing our story, getting it out there, getting the work that we're doing out there. And the more I think about it, the more I'm realizing I have had so many conversations in the last few weeks with people from back in the day and you being one of them, right? Just out of the blue, you reached out and said, "Hey, it's been a while. Let's do a catch up episode." And so I truly believe in this sentiment of what you focus on, you will find, or what you focus on will find you. And that serendipity as a strategy that I, for many years, pulled back because I had to take care of myself for a little bit. I also had a little breast cancer scare in 2022, which now I'm thankfully clear. But now coming out of all of that, recognizing that to move forward, I need to be out there helping people and doing good for others. And then just trusting that will come back to my life, my work, my community.
Yes, I so much agree. And as we were talking around the serendipity as a strategy, the other key element of that from my perspective is it can never be a quid pro quo thought process. Oh, I'm going to give this person this, expecting to get back in return this. Instead, you give something out with nothing, no expectation for a return, and the return comes back 5 or 10 times, but in a completely different place than you ever expected.
Yes, 100%. It is not about, I'll do something for you, you do something for me. It's, I'll do something for you, and I will trust that the universe will repay me in some way.
As we roll towards our close, are there any parting words that you'd like to leave us with?
Oh, honestly, I think it's really just a summation of what I just said in terms of we are all inventors. Everyone is reinventing themselves, inventing things in this world to solve problems for themselves and for others. And that creative process is really such a joy. And I think sometimes we lose sight of the joys in our lives because there's so much chaos going on around us. And as someone who really advocates for mental health equity and recognizing that if our brains are not in the right place, we can't do the good work that we want to be doing, I really just would highly encourage anyone listening. One, if you have these conditions, please feel free to reach out. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to help you. But just in general, as an inventor in that space, there's stress, there's pressure, but just keep remembering who you're doing this for, why you're doing it, and know that good things will come as you keep moving forward.
Yes, one last thing I wanted to touch on when you were talking about the creative process and being such a joy. I believe that all children are naturally creative, but unfortunately, I guess adults and others sometimes bake it out of them, telling them to be practical and everything else. And so many adults lose what would be a natural process for them to be naturally creative, I believe. And my good fortune is my parents never discouraged me from thinking and being creative, even if the ideas were way out there. And that served me really well because now I'm very creative. And I know so many people who really are not very creative.
Yeah, and creativity is something that can be learned. So it is just about start doing, and even going back to childhood and just getting construction paper, scissors, and glue, and just make something, and just start honing that craft. Creativity is everywhere. It's in you. And yeah, if it was beat out of you in that sense, it just takes some time to get it back. And I always say, even in the BFRB community, the answer to these behaviors lies in love. It lies in joy. It lies in recognizing what is causing you to need self soothing and instead look for a loving, joyful, or creative activity. And I always advocate for go back to your childhood. What did you love to do? Something creative or maybe movement based like a sport or whatever it was, singing, whatever activity really brought you joy as a child. Everyone must create space in their time, in their life for that because that feeds that inner child. And when that inner child is fed, it is safe and that noise in the head just quiets. And so the more you can feed that inner child, the more that creativity comes back out to help you with the real things in life, if you will, the work that you're trying to do.
My final question, Aneela, is how can our listeners reach you if they have other questions?
Absolutely. We love talking to the community. So you can email me at Aneela@habitaware.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, Twitter or X at HabitAware. The nonprofit is at BFRB Changemakers. You can check out our website, sign up for our newsletter. It's chock full of strategies, inspiration, motivation, and inspiring stories. And I think that might be all the ways that you can get to me, short of my phone number.
Couple key ones, Aneela at habitaware.com, and your name is spelled Aneela. So Aneela at habitaware.com. And I then would imagine that then your website is www.habitaware.com. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you. I might have missed that one.
Neil, I want to thank you for once again joining us in the podcast. And we're not going to make it another 5 years this next time. We will definitely check back with you in 6 months or a year or so and see what you've got going on at that time. But I really want to thank you for joining us in the podcast again.
Thank you so much for having me. I very much will look forward to chatting again. We do have a couple of stealth mode things in the works. Yeah, it will be great to catch up fairly soon.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
As an inventor, do you ever feel lonely? Because no one seems to understand what you are doing or why. What if there was a community of other inventors just like you that you could meet, share with, and learn from every month? What if every month you had a front row seat to learn how to license, research companies, and sharpen your marketing message from successful inventors like Marcy McKenna, Lisa Lloyd, Aaron Krause, and many others? Guess what? The Inventors Helping Inventors membership group, or IHIMG, gives you all of that and more for only $35 a month. Less than a few lattes at Starbucks. Just go to alanbeckley.com/IHI35 for all the details and to join us now. From the moment you join, you'll get instant access to over 60 recorded videos in the IHIMG Video Vault, going all the way back to 2021. That's 3 years. You'll learn all the tools, tips, and tactics used by successful inventors, including Lisa Lloyd, Dan Klitzner, Marcy McKenna, Adrian Pelkis, Nancy Tedeschi, Brian Freed, Jen Everett, Kevin Moran, April Mitchell, Rocky Batesel, and more. If it sounds like I'm name dropping, it's because I am. I'm proud of the fact that we've assembled an amazing collection of talented, successful inventors sharing their keys to success with you and over 35 other IHIMG members in the group. All you have to do is join us. To join us now in the Inventors Helping Inventors membership group, just go to alanbeckley.com/IHI35. I look forward to meeting you and helping you accelerate your journey to gain traction as an inventor. Thanks so much for tuning in to Inventors Helping Inventors. If you like the show, please tell your friends about it. Make sure to subscribe in iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts so you won't miss a single episode. Talk to you soon.